Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and today I'm continuing work on my fall library journal. This is the second journal in a 3-journal set, and today I'm just going to decorate some of the pages. I'm going to start on the cover, and I wanted to do something a little bit fun with this. I've got this fussy cut of a book with some leaves coming out of it. I'm just going to grab some distress ink and hit the edges with that. And I want to turn this into a little pocket on the front. But I want to make this pop out some because there's a lot of pattern and things going on here. So right like that, I'm going to grab my Beacon Fabri-Tac. I'm just going to glue, I'm going to do, let's see, this outside and across the bottom and maybe just a little bit up on this side. I want to leave lots of room, but we'll see how that, I can always add a little more glue. I want to make sure that is all the way on there. I kind of like the layered look of that. It's not jumping out like a ton, but it's subtle. I think next, this is what I wanted to put in here, is this giant bookmark. It says Maple Leaf Library on it. That's the name of my library in the town of Gourd Grove. So I thought that would be really fun for the front. It has a schedule of events on the front of it, and I just thought that added some interest while also saying this is what this small journal is about. And I feel like we need to add something else in here. I've got some books. Maybe one of these books can tuck in there. Oh, that's cute. I like that. And then I've got some labels. I wonder if one of those would fit on there. It would. Be at a jaunty angle. I don't know about fiction though. I think some of these smaller, oh, local history. I like that. There we go. A lot of the smaller labels in this kit are kind of basic library sections, and there's a set of larger labels that is more magical, mystical, town themed. So I like that. Let me grab, searching for my dauber here. Grab my distress ink, give that a little bit of a hit. And I have done distress ink on a lot of these pieces already ahead of time, just to get ahead and save some time in the decorating process. Let's go to jaunty angle, local history. And now I feel like I need some fiber or texture on the front of this. Everything is very flat. It's just cardstock. So let's reach over into my scraps. Got handful here. Let's see what we have. This is a pretty fabric. And what I think I'm going to do is find my sewing scissors. There we go. And let's just do a tiny little cluster. I'm just gonna snip little bits of things. How about a little green? This is a really fun vintage fabric that I have from my stash. It was from my mom's stuff. I just want a little peek of that green. And then let's get that glued down. A couple little dots of glue. Make sure that green's poking through. There's a little bit of a pinked edge on this one. And then I think I'm gonna add a button. This is a cream colored button. Just going to put a dot of glue there. My Fabri-Tac is kind of oozing everywhere. And there is that. All right, I think we need a little bit more. This is our cover. Though I might make a case to kind of hold this 3-journal set. I do want this to still feel like a cover on its own. So I'm going to grab some lace. I think, now this has to tuck down into this pocket, so I don't want the lace to get bound up while it's trying to go in and out of the pocket. So I'm just going to kind of, let's turn it sideways so it'll all fit on the camera. Right about there, I think. And then where are my pinking shears? Big fan of the pinking shear. The pinked edge, yep, that should work. All right, let's pull that out of here. I'm just going to run a beaded glue. Normally, I probably would have decorated right across the top of this, but because it has the name of my library right there, I am going to do the edge. Hopefully I'm not going too far. We'll find out. I did cut my ribbon, my lace here to the right. I'm not going to worry if I overlap the text just a little bit, maybe. Let's see. All right, let's try that out and see how it works. Oh, look at that. That is fun. Do I want to do anything else to this? You know, got an idea. All right, just add a little more oomph to this. I've grabbed this paper clip. I feel like a paper clip, I'm gonna use a lot of paper clips in this. I'm thinking libraries and research and things like that. And let me kind of rummage around over here and look for some bits of ribbon or lace or something like that. Let's see. Do we want to grab another piece of, ooh, this rickrack will be fun. Let's do another piece of that. Let's see how those look. I like that. kind of pastel. Now if I can just attach these to this, let's see if I can pull these through. This larger ribbon is velvet, and so it might just be a little bit persnickety to work with. Let's find out if it's gonna pull through here for me. All right, pop that on. I now just got a little more texture here to bring a little more interest to the cover. It's a little heavy on this side with the lace, but I think once trims and things start poking through from the pages on this side, it's going to balance it out nicely. I also have the option later on to add something else under this paper clip if I want to bring a little more interest, but I think for now, I'm just going to start moving to the inside of the journal. Now I flipped to the inside and I'm noticing right away that this stark white is showing up above the cover and I don't like how that looks. So I'm gonna go right back here and pull this off. I'm just going to add ink around the back. I did not print the back side of this. I do want to leave it open for writing and journaling or whatever else I might like to do with it in the future. But I still don't like that stark white showing up over the top of my journal when I'm flipping through it, because you're going to see that the entire time. So I'm just going to kind of do a little fade up here, right like this with the ink. And let's get into the stamps. Since this is a library, I'm going to select a stamp that looks a lot like a written letter, I think, or paper. And let's ink that up really well. And I'm going to do a couple of little wacky stamps on here. Let's see, let's overlap them. In fact, I think there's a second, let's see, I think there's a second letter here in this stamp set. I'll try to remember to link this stamp set down below. I got it off of Amazon. It is very versatile. There you go, second little letter. There, and now there's a little something interesting to poke over the top of the journal. All right, so these items are a little bit thick. So while I'm working on the inside cover, I'm just going to sit those to the side. And let's see what I have on my table to start working on this inside cover. I'm definitely going to want some sort of pocket, but I would like it to be something that kind of stands out. And I think this library catalog card would work really nicely. It's going to contrast with all these drawers, and also it's a catalog drawer, so they definitely go together. So let's just commit to that. I'm going to glue this on two sides. I have kind of made up books and people and all kinds of things in this kit just for, it's just a fun little fantasy adventure almost, where you get to explore this other place. So now I've got my pocket and let's get some cute things in there. I've got this portrait card from the bundle that has this girl with a book. I think that's a great addition to this page. I definitely want something up high though. And I think this would be a great place to build some texture. I've got this piece of mulberry paper and I'm just gonna tear a piece off. There are orange and yellow threads in this. I've been holding on to this particular piece for this project. Let's try tearing some of it, right like that. I'm building up some sort of layers. Let's see, I've got some trims here, not that one. I have some pre-sewn ones, but I think that's gonna be a bit much. I don't know. Ooh, or I like that. I tear this edge as well. Now I can build that and that just gives a little movement. All right, let's get this card out of here. I got a little, my glue is sassy today. It just wants to kind of blob everywhere. Let's get a line of glue right across there. Get this mulberry paper down and then another line of glue on top of that and get that down. And I like kind of the fluttery edge on that. I'm gonna push it up just a little so that those can go up above the top of the journal and they'll poke out a bit. Tuck our card back in there. Now my card definitely needs some embellishments on the top of it, maybe a tab or something like that. I think I might like a piece of this vintage fabric on here as a tab. I'm not sure if I want the pink on the front. It's kind of a pinky red. It has worked well in my apothecary journal. It really worked well in there. I'm not sure it's going to work as well in this one. We'll see. That is a start, but it's not 100% doing it for me. I would like some dangly things or something like that. Let's see here. Let's get that off of there. That's that gathered edge. Oh, and that gathered edge on its own might be fun. Stick that under there. And then let's see if I've got a snippet of something else. Oh, there's a little bit of a fancy vintage ribbon that I cut off with my pinking shears. Let's layer that up. And I feel like we need something right there. What else do we have? I have a binder clip sliding around over here. What else? What else? Well, I just tore off some more mulberry paper, and that might actually work. Now I'm going to try. I don't know if it'll go through all of this. Let's see. The back of this card is white for journaling. You can always print the back of your printable journal cards. I leave mine white. You can always decorate them in the future. All right, so that's all on there. I'll grab my stapler and let's see if I can just slide it right over the top here. Oh, and that sure worked. Oh, that's fun. What if I do a little, let's have fun with it. Well, that one, yeah, it went in. Might need to squash that one down a little bit. Oh, one more over here, just to be crazy. I'm gonna leave these visible as little wacky staples, I think. There's my tag. Do you want to maybe add something else? Do I add another button? I think I'm going to opt for a rhinestone, and I'm going to put it in this little bare area here. Good amount of glue. Oh, now I kind of want more. Oh my. Oh, rhinestones everywhere. Let's do another one right there. And I guess if we do 2, we kind of have to do 3 because 3 is more visually pleasing than 2. Maybe I went too far. Maybe. This is just fun. All right, so now she's all spangled up. Hold that up for you. That's a lot of fun. I like it. It's all higgledy-piggledy and there we go. So I'm probably going to do something else here, but I'm not sure what that is yet. So I'm going to move to the facing page, and I have this Gourd Grove Myths and Legends. It's just a kind of a fussy cut from the kit. I've printed this on cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that, fold it in half. There we go. Give it a good crease. And I want this to be interactive over here, but obviously I'm going to have to decorate or do something on this side. So the first thing I'm going to do is just use my distress ink, give this a little bit of a, just to tone down the white. I don't want to attach this too close to the crease because I feel like things are going to start getting jammed up in there. So I would attach that right about there, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this will open up, and I'm just going to put glue on 2 sides, right like that, so that it is also a tuck, and stick that down right like that. Now I'm going to look for something to place on the face of this. Let's see, I've got some bookshelves, a couple different bookshelves. Maybe I'll just make this decorative on the front. So if I'm going to go this route, make sure this is down really well. Maybe it's appropriate to do some more stamping here. Let me look. So I've grabbed one of my favorite kind of Victorian borders, and I probably should have done this before I glued this whole thing in, but that's okay. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. Let's see. There's a piece of notebook paper. I'm just going to tuck that in there to kind of protect the other edges. And I'm going to stamp this just around the parts that are going to poke out. Let's do kind of that. I don't care if it's a little bit faded or worn or crooked or anything like that. It's not a big deal. Let's get just the middle of the stamp. I'll just do that there. Oop. Good enough for me. All right, a little bit of a fun frame there. Now I've got my bookshelf fussy cut. I like that. A little bit of ink around the edges on that. I did not ink my fussy cuts yet because I'm never sure what I'm going to do with them. They have a very small light white border around the edges. It makes it a little neater for the machine to cut them out. I cut these out on my Cricut machine. If you cut yours out by hand, they might not be quite as tight or neat, and I wouldn't worry about it. I'm going to glue this whole thing down. It could be another tuck or pocket, but I think I'm just going to go decorative with this one. There we go. And now I feel like we need a tab or something. That's a great place for something like that. I'm going to grab my stamp again. Same stamp, no reason to change it. And just stamp on the back of this because it's going to show just a little bit once I glue it on. I'm just going to glue that right there. There we go. So now I've got this cute little book that opens up. My tab is decorated. I'm going to let that glue dry, and then I think I might hit the edges of that with a little more distress ink. Got a pocket here, and I may come back and add some more things into that pocket. It just depends on what's left whenever I get to the end of the journal, and then I start using up all the other bits. All right, since this is the very first thing you see when you open the journal, I think I want some more layers. So I'm going to grab this little strip here and I'm going to do another tuck, but I'm going to glue it in the opposite direction of this one. Just run a little glue here and here. I'm going to glue, let's offset it just a little bit. And I want it up so that the border shows. That way I'm building some layers. And I think this would be a great place for a little envelope. So let's grab, this is an envelope from the Fall Magic envelope kit. I'm just gonna ink all around the edges on this. And I'm going to grab some dictionary paper to decorate the inside flap. I attached this using an Uhu glue stick. And this piece of paper came from an English to an Italian dictionary. You've seen me use this one a lot. Now I could fold the flap down on this, but I think in this case, I'm going to leave that open and just tuck it in there so that it's a little open envelope. It adds some more texture with the dictionary page sticking up. And let's see if I have anything else to tuck in there. I think instead of making an envelope where I can take things in and out, I'm going to make a decorative envelope. So I'm just going to tuck a little piece of lace in here, let it kind of peek out. And then I've got this dried flower. I've been using a lot of these lately and I think that's so cute. And I'm just going to glue this whole thing down. Trying to be generous. Again, dried flowers. I'm not sure how they hold up in the long run, but I've really enjoyed using them. And this is my personal journal, so I'm not really worried about it. The joy it brings me now is worth whatever heartbreak may come later. So now I've got this cute little envelope. It's just going to tuck right in there as an extra piece, a little ephemera piece. Now I like to jump around a little bit. This definitely doesn't feel completely finished to me, so I'm going to move on and then I'll come back probably towards the end of this video, maybe another day, and see what else I might like to do here. All right, this next spread is going to be super quick and simple. I want to leave a lot of journaling space here. I have this great notebook paper, perfect space for writing. So I'm going to grab, let's see here. I think I'd like some decorative trim here. And here I feel like that pink is kind of working. There's a little bit of that pinky red color right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down this little pre-done strip. That's a strip of burlap and velvet ribbon and vintage trim all sewn together really quickly on my sewing machine. Get this down right there. Make sure it's poking out so that when the journal is closed, that shows. And I like that. That's quite a bit of extra fluff to see from the outside. I love that. For here, I've got this divination and mystical arts tag, and I think I'll add just a little bit of ink, just whatever's on my dauber at the moment, right around the edges, and I'm going to glue that on as well. Right in the center. For this bottom corner, I have a fussy cut with some books and flowers. I think fits well for a note-taking area. That in there. And then this page, also great for journaling, but I have one of my fall mini books. This is a kit. It comes with 4 books. They open up. There's a video that shows you how to assemble them. There's poems or writing or things inside of each one. They each have a tiny little library card in a little tiny pocket. So cute. I'm going to make this into a tuck, even though it's a shame to lose that back side. I want a little tuck on this page, so I'm going to glue this little book right into my other book, right like that. And I'm going to finish this off by tucking a library card in here. This is who is this for? Finn Whitethorn from 2 Oakwood Drive is entitled to draw books from the Maple Leaf Library. So I'll just tuck that right in there. And that's it for this spread. I have lots of great journaling space, a little bit of decoration, and this really pretty library printable on this page. I think it's time to have some fun with pockets. So I've got a spread here with a couple of simpler pages. I could certainly use this one for journaling if I wanted to, but I think I'd like to do a double pocket. So let's see if I can line things up here. This one is a book pattern and this one is card catalog drawers, and I want to layer these. I like placing different types and sizes of pockets on the same page. It just creates kind of a collage effect. Let's make sure those are layers. Oh, we gotta go slide it down. Always place that bottom one a little higher than I originally intended. Let's see, I can do that up there like that. So just to create a layered effect. And it also lets me put shorter items into the pockets, but create some height on the page. There we go. Just making sure that the bottom of that pocket is covered by the top of this pocket and that everything is relatively straight. There we go. And I think I might like an embellishment at the top here. Now that this embellishment is a little large, so I'm just going to trim just a little straight piece off of each end. You won't even really notice. Let's see how that fits. That is much better. And I'm just gonna glue this right down. These would make really cute belly bands. There are 4 of these in the kit, but for this page, just gonna go right like that. Let's let those pockets dry before we put anything inside of them. And on this side, I have a tuck. This could also be a belly band. I'm in a tuck kind of mood. Hopefully I just put the glue on the right side. Yes, I did. There is text on the spines of these books on this tuck, and I would have been upset if they were upside down. Already, I feel like that's looking super interesting. Now I've pre-cut a piece of jute. This is some wired ribbon that I picked up at the thrift store, and I'm going to place that there as a panel. I'm just going to kind of get a little layer of glue all over that so it'll stick down nicely right in the center. And I've got another one of my library labels, my herbal and potion lore label. I'm going to glue that down on top. Lots and lots of layers on this page. I didn't ink this one. I could have inked it, but I didn't, and that's no big deal. Now it's time to fill the pockets up. I've got a large journaling card that's going to fit right down in there, nice and neat. And I like that when this comes out, you have the decoration that kind of like, surprise, an extra decoration in there. And then in this lower pocket, I have a library book card and a book. And I like the green. I feel like it just jumps off the page here because there is no other green. So I like the look of that. On the facing page, I have another card, another portrait card. I have another lady with a book and a card from the library kit that is the interior of a library. This one has been inked up already, so I'm just going to tuck that in. This one hasn't had much done. So I'm going to grab my corner rounding punch and using the large setting, I'm going to round all those corners and hit the edges with some distress ink. I am using vintage photo distress ink. I've used just this one color throughout my journal. It is lately the only color I've been using for fall. Hopefully when I get into Christmas time, I'll have opportunity to use some of the other colors. I have one more thing I want to add to this page. Got a scrappy little trim piece here, and I just thought that I would add some texture. I might come back and add some more fiber to this page, but for now, I think I'm just going to go with this scrappy little piece on the side. Hopefully that was enough glue. And I'm going to let that stick out just like the other ones. There we go. We're building up quite the fluttery edge on this one. For now, I think this spread is done, but I do see room to come back and add some more little embellishments onto the tags. But that's something I like to do all at once whenever I'm just about done with the journal. I've now hit the point in the project where I like to just start attaching pockets throughout the journal. I definitely hit a point where I start looking at my supply pile and I want to make sure everything is nicely distributed throughout the entire journal. So I'll start grabbing pockets, flipping through and finding great places for each of them while being able to kind of alternate the types and sizes of pockets. All right, I got my pocket in place already here on this piece of notebook paper, and I'm going to have fun with this one. I think I want to leave this mostly free for journaling. This I'm not sure about yet, but let's have some fun with this. So the first thing I want to do is grab a journal card, and I think it's so great how his little face just pokes out there. So this is definitely the one for this spot, but I want to make this a little fancier. So I'm going to get my journal out of the way a little bit here. And I think it's appropriate. I'm going with the Magical Creatures label. Let's give that some ink. And then I think I'm going to need to stamp on the backs of these. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to glue that as a tab at the top. So a little bit across the bottom. Put that right there. Make sure it's centered. All right, and I'm going to flip this over. Now, the back side of this needs something because when I flip this page, very cute on the front, a little bit plain on the back. I still want to be able to journal. I always want to be able to journal. So let's do the little trick with the dauber. I'm just going to kind of lightly buff kind of a gradient right up the back there. My glue is not quite dry, so I'm going to try not to disrupt that too much. And I've got a piece of wired ribbon here, and I was thinking about making kind of like a little poof or a little fan or something to show and kind of poke up out of the back. So I'm going to grab my pinking shears and kind of make a half circle. I don't know how this is going to work. This is just a wacky idea I had. There's wire still in the ribbon. I'm going to leave that be for now. And let's see how this looks from the other side. It has just a little, that's kind of cute. I don't dislike that. It frames the magical creatures. Let's see if I can neaten that up just a little bit. All right, like that. I want to just tuck a little glue. Yeah, let's just glue a little line right here. I might not have needed to ink the back of this, but I knew it was going to show through just a little bit. I'm going to be sparing with this glue up here, just enough to get it to stick. I'm going to slide that right into my pocket, and that is kind of cute. I like it. Just a little something there. So now I've got this whole flap thing going on, and I've grabbed one of these envelopes. This is from the Fall Magic Journal Kit. I've already lined the inside of it with my Italian to English dictionary, and I've tucked Leaves of Wisdom. It's one of the little mini books. There we go, from the mini books kit. And I've placed that right down inside that envelope, but it ended up being the perfect size. And I want this to be a flip right here. So I'm going to go right to this side and glue the flap of this envelope down. All right, and I'm just going to carefully try to make sure that's straight. And to finish this off on the back, I can leave just a little room for like a note or a little saying or just to jot something down. But I've got another bookshelf fussy cut. I'm not sure I really needed to ink around the edges of this, but I did anyway. And I'm just going to glue that down. Could make it a tuck, not gonna make it a tuck. There we go, just overlap that. And now I'm looking at this and I feel like I want something right here. So let me look at my dried flowers real quick. All right, I've come back with this red leaf. Oh, I like that side of it better. So let's glue this side of it. Get a little glue on there, smush it around, right like that. And this will be pretty too if I take it out to journal on it. And I've got this little daisy, I think it's a daisy? White flower. Put that right on there as well. There we go. So now I've got this interesting little flip here in the middle. It opens up. I have a little book that comes out. Hopefully. There's my little book. It might be better to put it that way. There we go. Might have to do a little pull ribbon on that. I'll check that out later. Got my tag. I really want something else right about here. So I think what I'm going to do is, even though this is a whole piece of trim, it could go all the way up one side of the journal. I am going to steal a piece of this. I'm going to steal right there with my pinking shears and just make a nice little, do a little swatch there. Not too close to the crease. Don't want to get bound up in the middle of the book. Now I have a little piece of texture. I feel like I still want something else there. So I ended up grabbing a button and I put a little baker's twine right through the middle of that and tied a bow. I'm not sure I picked the right colors, but I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm not gonna overthink those colors. There we go. Double check there. Yes, now that all clears nicely. This is a little bulky, so I think as a result, I'm going to leave the 2 pages with it. Fairly plain. I may come back and add something to the top or bottom just to zhuzh it up a bit, but I think this is really the focal point of this spread, and everything else is going to be writing space or decorative. I'm almost to the halfway point of this journal. Got one more spread to go, and I'm going to do something a little different here. So I've got this panel of lace. This is from a tablecloth or a valance I got at the thrift store, and I'm going to do a flip here. And I wanted to stick up over the top of the journal. I seem to have quite a bit of that going on, and I want to continue that trend. So I'm just going to grab my Fabri-Tac and do a little squiggle right along here to kind of tack this in place. I'm going to cover this up, so I'm not too worried about it soaking through or anything like that. I'm going to leave it up enough that you can see the writing. There's some writing on this printable paper down here on the bottom. So I wanted to be able to see that. And now I'm going to grab, this was a pocket from the kit. I'm going to turn it into a tuck at the top of the page. And I want it to be kind of tight. So I'm going to glue, I think about halfway down here. Get a good bit of glue. And then right down the sides. That way, hopefully when I put things in, they will stay in. Let's see if I can get this on here without getting glue all over myself. And now I need some more embellishments on here. Got another one of these decorative pieces. It is just a titch longer than my pocket, so I'm going to trim that down. I made these large enough that they could go on the page on their own, or that you could do other creative things with them, but sometimes you just got to trim stuff down. This could be a tuck. I'm just going to glue it down as a decorative element. There we've got, whoops, we've got that down. And I think I'd like a little more at the top here. So I've got a couple pieces of trim. There's this little piece of ribbon with the tree's branches on it. I've been using quite a bit of that lately. I'm going to glue that into place. Move it down a little bit. And then I've got this metallic trim that I thought was going to bring a little bit of sparkle to the page. I like how that looks. Just put that right there. I'm going to let that dry before I go tucking anything up in there. I don't want to glue them in by accident. So I've got this page over here, and I really want to use this big bookmark with the owl on it. But I need a pocket for it, something to tuck it into. I want to still see a lot of these books, but not all of them. You know how it goes. So I've got one of my book cutouts and one of the library cards. And I'm going to do kind of a funky pocket here. Let's see. I'm going to glue these together at a little bit of an angle. Right like that. Make it jaunty. Make sure there's no glue sticking out there. And then I'm going to turn this into a wacky pocket. So I'm going to glue down this side here and across the bottom. And then I'm going to kind of do this. So it's an odd shaped pocket. I'll line this up with the corner, and then it needs more layers. So I've got my fairy tales and folklore. Let's grab the dauber and get a little ink on this. And I think I'd like a little fabric. I have this piece of orange chiffon. I'm just gonna toss that down. Let's see here. Kind of a little crisscross. I like that. Just gonna kind of squidge some glue on there just to kind of hold it down. Not too much because it will soak through this fabric. And I'll glue this down really well on top of it. All the little points and edges. Now I have a pocket that is the right size for my bookmark. All right, I've quickly punched a hole and added some red lace to that bookmark. I'm just going to slide that right in there. And then back to this other panel, I've got a library card catalog card. I'm going to tuck that right up in here. And this journaling card with a desk and lamp. I'm going to put that right here. And that's it for this spread. Now moving to the center of my journal, and I'm going to leave this as is. I love this cozy library image with the tree in it. It's a lot of fun. So that's going to stay just like that. And I'm going to move to this next spread, which already has a belly band attached to this page. Something I've been enjoying lately is layering pockets and belly bands. So I'm going to grab this little book fussy cut, which is a little long. So I'm going to trim that down. Take one of these books off the end. And I'm going to glue this as a pocket right over the belly band. I'm going to let that dry for a moment before I go putting anything in over here. And I've got this piece of ribbon. I've layered up a few different ribbons right here. And I'm just going to add that as a decorative element down the side of this page. I'm going to let that stick out just a little bit. Let's flip my page over and check and make sure I've got that peeking over. And then I think just for a little tab, I've got my Harvest Magic label. I'm going to center that up right there. And then popping back over here, I'm going to fill this up. So I have a Fall Magic journal card. I've rounded the corners and inked this. And an envelope from the Fall Magic envelopes kit. These are all included in the bundle. And I'm just going to slide those right in here. Like that. There's nothing in my envelope right now. That's for me to fill later. And in this pocket at the bottom, I've got a book and a library card to make this nice and full. I could come back and add some more trims and things at the end, but for now, I am satisfied with this and I'm going to move on. All right, I'm taking a quick break from my journal itself and I'm going to make a little notebook. I keep these on my supply cart. There's some notebook paper and some dyed paper inside of just some cardstock I had on hand. And I'm going to punch a hole right in the middle of the crease of this without poking my fingers. And go all the way through. And I've got some baker's twine on a needle and I'm going to just put this through the middle from the outside. Pull that through. Come around, all the way around, and then back through to the outside like so. Now I've doubled my baker's twine over. You could do a single. And I am just going to cut this. I wanted it to kind of have a tassel effect. And I can tie this in a knot. I think I'm going to grab another piece of baker's twine because these came out just a little short. Let me cut that. So I'm going to grab another piece of baker's twine and just tie a nice knot here. And then I think a bow. There we go. So now I have this kind of funky, hangy, dangly, floofy baker's twine situation going on here. Trim that up just a little bit. And that is going to hold my notebook together so I can write in it, do whatever I want. I could decorate those pages as well. I'm going to grab a journal card from the kit, and I like that, but I feel like it needs just a little more decoration. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go back to that Victorian stamp I had out earlier and just add a couple of these right along the top and the bottom. There we go. And that just makes it look a lot nicer. With my Oohoo glue stick, I am just going to glue this whole thing down directly on top of the notebook. There we go. Now I can just tuck this right into the pocket on my next spread. You can see I've grabbed another scrap of my vintage fabric and I think I'm going to run that right along this edge. I don't like how sharp and clean this is, but I still wanted to see this a little bit of cream ribbon sticking out. So I'm going to glue that right there like so. And on the pocket, I'm going to add this really cool fussy cut. Again, I cut my fussy cuts out with the Cricut machine. So if you cut yours out by hand, it might not be quite so fiddly and detailed, and that is okay. Just cut around it. Add a little ink around the edges and have fun with it. There we go. And now flipping this over, I'm going to pull my notebook out for a second. I think I'm going to do a little cluster right here. I have some jute lace and a biographies label, and I'm just going to glue those all down really quickly. Now I can flip this over, put my notebook back in, and I'm pretty happy with this. I might come back and add a little something extra, but for now I'm going to move on. This next spread is going to be super quick. I've got a tuck already attached to the left-hand side, and I'm just going to grab a couple of my journal cards. I've got this gentleman. We haven't had any men in our library yet, and I thought he looks kind of scholarly, so I'm going to tuck him in there along with our cat reading a book. Pop those right in there, let them peek out. And I've got a paper clip with a little bit of orange lace attached to it. This is a vintage lace. I picked that up at the thrift store. Another library card and a fussy cut. And I could add a little trim or something to this page, but I think I'm going to leave that be for now. And on the facing page, I have an envelope. This is kind of a little packet envelope from the Fall Magic Envelopes kit, and I'm going to glue that right down on the page. I'm going to do it in a tuck fashion, like a corner tuck. So just gluing along the bottom and the side, putting that there. And then inside of the pocket, I'm going to put the Chronicles of Chrysanthia, which is a little novel, again, from the mini books kit. It has some pages and illustrations to look through. That's going to slide right down in there. And I have a bookmark, which I've already attached some yellow ribbon to, and that is going to go in there as well. And that leaves me some room for journaling there. When I do my final sweep through the book, I'll probably add a little trim or something like that. But for now, this one is done. So here, I'm loving the paper clips, and I really need to go back and maybe add a few more, and maybe some staples too. I didn't use too many more of those as well, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But I've got this second fussy cut. It's the history of Gourd Grove. I've folded it in half so that the white is on the inside. And I'm going to put it right over this piece of notebook paper and secure it with a paper clip. I can take this off. I can journal on the paper. I can journal on the reverse side of the book fussy cut. I think that's going to work great. And then on this facing page, I've already attached a pocket earlier. I'm going to embellish that with this really cute stacked book fussy cuts. I like how the leaves are going to come up over the top of the notch so that there's a little bit of dimension. So I'm just going to put a bunch of glue on that. And now I've gone too high with my glue. I'm going to wipe some of that off. Make sure I don't glue my pocket shut. Next, I'm going to grab my Mystical Music tab or sign, whatever you want to call it. And I've already stamped the back of this because that back side is going to hang out over the edge. I'm going to turn that into a tab right here. There you can see on our previous page, we've got that decorative edge sticking out. I love that technique. I've been having a lot of fun with that in this journal. And then I've just got a collection of ephemera. I've got a card catalog card and a library card in a book. And I am just going to place all of those in here, all higgledy-piggledy. And I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see, flip this page. I've got some writing space here. Maybe add some trim, not that one. I think I'll come back to this and add some trim later, but I'm right to the end of the journal and I'd like to finish that up and then go back through and use up the pieces that I haven't used yet. So for the back cover, I'm going to go back to my lace here and I'm going to do kind of a double flip. Grab my glue and I'm going to run, let's see, a little bit here and get the first one on. Again, these are part of the same valance or tablecloth. I think it was a valance that I picked up at the thrift shop. Here is my second one. So they're different lengths. And the top of this, I'm going to add this kind of burlappy, branchy ribbon that I've cut with my pinking shears. And that's going to hang out over the side. I'm all right with that. That'll look really cute. And I'm going to finish it off with another one of these bands right there. Center that up. And on my lace, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to slide this right under here. And I'm going to add, I have some fussy cuts left. I think it's fun to do this one sideways. So I'm going to just kind of dot some glue onto the solid spots of the lace. This should attach it well enough for my purposes. And I'm just going to do that there. And flip that up out of the way. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one with this kind of bookcase fussy cut. There we go. So this is kind of a fun little double flip with the fussy cuts on them. You can still see the drawers through from the back, but I wanted something interesting on this back page. I already have a pocket glued in here, so let's see what I have left for journal tags. I've got bookshelf. Let's go with the card catalog. I have these scrolls. I'm going to tuck that in there. And one more of those card catalog cards. And just to really stuff it full, I have one last little mini book, the Magical Harvest Cookbook. It has little fall recipes in it. Love that. It's so cute. That is going to go in there as well. I think on here, let's see, what do we have for little tags left? There were so many of these little tags. Let's go with, oh, cookbooks. There we go. That's perfect. And a little bit of ribbon. There we go. I grabbed some more lace, so I'm just going to kind of do a quick little cluster with the vintage fabric and the lace, right like that. Do my cookbooks label. And I'm pretty happy with that. Now is the point where I go back through the entire journal and start looking for places where I want to add some more decoration. You'll be able to see all of the finishing touches in the flip through video, which I will be posting in the next couple of days. Remember that this is the Fall Library Journal Kit. It's available on its own, as well as in a bundle with the envelopes, the extra journal cards, and all kinds of other fun things. Check out the link in the description down below if you would like to make your own version of this journal. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.